What's going on, all you gamers? Here we are in Cyberpunk 2077, and we seem to have a crazy lady walking towards us. Yeah, but you didn't come here for that crazy lady. You came here because you want to know about the different types of weapons and what they actually do. So, if that interests you, then stay tuned. That's coming up next. Welcome back, all you gamers. So yeah, in Cyberpunk 2077, there's an awful lot to do. There's an awful lot of things to find. There's just a lot going on, but in a good way. So if you've kind of binned off a weapon type because you think it's absolutely awful, I'm going to show you why it probably isn't. It's just that it may have been a bad gun you picked up, or it may just have not been quite the same as the rest. So if you have a little look here, I've put 3 weapon types on that are all different, and you can only get 3 as far as I'm aware in Cyberpunk 2077 unless they add new stuff or there's something very endgame. But as far as I'm aware, the only ones you can get are tech, power, and finally just down here, smart. Now all 3 of these kind of serve a purpose, and it's all about having a unique playstyle. You could quite easily have one of each equipped if you wanted to go into every scenario so that you had a different weapon type, but often what you'll find is you kind of prefer one over the rest for your kind of playstyle, or you have a fallback one. Now to explain things, the tech pistol, so the tech version, what it actually does, and you can see it highlighted there, can be charged to release a powerful shot. What it doesn't say there is that that shot can actually pierce through things. So say for example there's someone in cover, that shot can go straight through it. I'm not sure exactly the depth of cover that it will pierce, but most things it will go through one layer and hit the target. So these can be really good if there's enemies hiding, if you don't want to get too close into combat, if you're fighting people that are just gonna out and out massacre you if you get too close to them. These can be really good. Just down here, and if you have a little look, we've got power. Bullets can ricochet off of surfaces. Now I used to think this was how can I put it, awful, not the best. I didn't really give this much of a chance. But there's one thing you have to remember when you're playing this game, and that's that other things always come into factor to kind of, how can I put it, raise the DPS or change your playstyle as such. So for example, you can get certain mods that actually make it so that you have more ricochets, and I believe there's even more powerful ones than that. So what I'll do is after this I'll go and chuck on some footage of some mods that you can actually attach to powerful weapons to kind of make them a little bit better. But yeah, these ones, sometimes they have a bit more kick to them, sometimes they do a little bit more damage I've found, but overall they don't seem quite as versatile as the other 2. I think you would need to probably mod them up a little bit, and that way it would kind of give you a bit more of an upper hand. And just down here, and we have the smart pistol. And that smart is a really good way of actually kind of, how can I put it, you can use this as a fallback weapon. You can kind of massacre things from a distance. You can hit headshots from absolutely ridiculously far away without trying. These are really good go-to weapons, and they can make it so that you can kind of put the game a little bit easier than it should be if you have the right kind of smart weapon and you have the right kind of mods and things in your build. Smart weapons are really powerful in this game, and they're really good fun. All in all, what I would say, from my take on things anyway, it seems that tech pistols are kind of mid-range, unless of course you've got a shotgun, whereas like I said, you can shoot through cover. You could quite easily be around a box shooting at someone on the other side as they walk after you, and you'll probably be able to kill them without getting hit because they won't be able to do anything. These ones, what I've found most times, I find that these are kind of closer range because you're trying to hit those ricochet bullets, and with that you also find you get quite a bit more damage on these. So if you are hitting every shot, these ones can be really powerful, I think, once you're modded properly to actually use these. As you can see here, and I believe most times you get this quite early on, increases the chance to ricochet shots with power weapons. Directly links the user's optical implant to the weapon system, offering real-time data tracking. So obviously, as you can see from that one would be for the power weapon. Now you can get a stronger version of this as well. This is kind of on the low end, and that will indeed help with the damage of the power weapons. Power weapons, in my opinion, I feel like if you're fully speccing into them, I feel like if you went all in, they could do possibly the most damage late game, as they seem to have more of a kick to them. But for ease of use, I feel like the other two are a little bit easier, the tech and the smart, especially when it comes to kind of playing it safe as such. But like I said, no one weapon is actually bad, and all of them are really, really powerful if you kind of spec your character into that. And finally down here, the smart pistol. And the smart pistol on its own is useless. You need to have a mod on you to actually be able to even use that. So the mod you're looking for, right, so here we are at the Ripper dock, and just to show you roughly what I mean, if you go down to here, Smart Link, that's basically necessary to make the smart bullets work on your smart guns. So there are other mods that you can have. I believe there's a mod that you can get that makes any gun a smart gun, but then you don't get crit damage. I myself probably wouldn't recommend that, as I think losing out on that crit multiplier might kind of make things a little bit tougher towards later game. But yeah, Smart Link, and this is just the rare version. As it goes up in category, so especially legendary, it adds on top a bit of crit damage as well, and I think the tracking on it's better. So it will make the weapon you've got really, really strong as you go later into the game. But once you have that mod, it can up the damage on it, it can make it so that it tracks better, gets headshots better. It really makes this a versatile and strong weapon. So all in all, as you can tell, a lot of this game is not about the actual weapon itself, it's about how you've kind of customized your characters to use that certain weapon type. Another thing to remember is your skill trees. Your skill trees play a big part in how well weapons kind of perform as such. So if I go to my character, because I'm going for a handgun build, if you have a little look, I will have a lot of things that kind of up handgun damage. So that will increase the handgun damage no matter what I'm using. However, if, say for example, I went over to here, and this is what I find. I've not looked in every single skill, but I tend to find that the tech versions of the guns are kind of enhanced mainly through this, so your actual technical abilities. So if you were going the technical way, especially here over on engineering, if you have a little look, increase smart weapon reload speeds by 5%. Fully charged tech weapons do not shoot automatically. That's actually a lot bigger an advantage than you think, as you can kind of just hold that powered shot and then release it whenever you want, rather than missing a lot of times because the guy hasn't kind of come to the exact point you want or he's moved out of the way. This is actually really, really helpful. Tech weapons ignore armor. That's massive, absolutely massive. Reducing the armor to 0 is massive in any game. Reduces the charge amount needed for tech weapons to penetrate walls by 30%. So as you can see, kind of the tech a little bit on the smart gun side as well, but mainly on the tech is for this engineering tree, and it can make your weapons absolutely ridiculous and just help to overall enhance the gameplay. Another thing to note is if you have a little look on here, never forget that the mod slots can actually affect things quite a lot. So if you have a little look down the bottom there, I've got 2 empty mod slots. And another thing is whatever is on the actual gun for its stats, one thing that can really make the difference is things such as this. So if you have a little look, 13% burn chance, 11 to 14 thermal damage, and headshot multiplier. If you take things like this into consideration, you can really work out if a gun is strong or on the lower end of the spectrum. So for example, that one can set people on fire, it does a lot of damage from the offset, and the fire damage can be really powerful. I find in this game, having that tick damage from either fire or poison or something along those lines, I think you can get quite a few actual status effects in these, but they all make it so that your gun is kind of amplified, and the higher they are, the better the weapon will be. Whereas if you go down here, if you have a little look, this one has bonus ricochet damage and 6% burn chance. So as you can see, this one is a good actual weapon, and the ricochet damage is really handy. So if you find a really nice power weapon, you can be doing a lot of damage, especially if you find one that actually has that amplified. And finally, just down here, the smart weapons. So as you can see, just down here, it's got 24% crit damage, 6% shock chance, and 1.7 headshot damage multiplier. All in all, these don't look quite as strong as some of the other weapons, but they definitely are good, and they're definitely easier to use. So it all comes down to your playstyle and how you want to take on your enemies. With these, you could stand quite medium to far back, and you're going to be able to get headshots even if you're not trying. So it'll be kind of consistent damage. Whereas with these, if you're a little bit closer range, you will be getting a lot of extra damage from the kick and from the plus damage to bonus ricochet damage. With these in your tech, you will be getting the damage of whatever you've got on it. Again, if it has something like burn chance, which I think you can get on all of them, so don't think that's just on this. So you will be getting that, you'll be getting the headshot multiplier, and whatever else it actually gives you part of your skill tree. So for your charged up shots and for your extra damage and such. So all in all of these are really potent weaponry, and you can play to your complete playstyle. There is no one weapon type that is useless or bad. Like I said, I don't think I've invested enough into power to kind of give it a fair rundown as such, but I feel like it will be really strong late game if you spec'd into it. Right, so I hope that helps a few of you gamers out, and what I'll do is I'll leave some footage of all three of these, taking out a few bad guys, and you can kind of decide for yourself which kind of gun is your kind of playstyle. One added note, just so you know, this gun right here, Skippy, one of my favourite guns that I actually have. I have a guide out for it on how to get it, and I'll chuck that top right. I also have one for Lizzie. I will chuck that top right as well. If they're not on there, they'll be coming up within the next couple of days. But as always, gamers, I hope this has helped. I hope you enjoy it, and here's some footage for you. Take care. I'll see you all next day.